Hi everyone, I'm Katie Friedman, founder of Flexible Working People, and I'm joined today by Heather Black, who is the CEO and founder of Supermums. Hi Heather.
Hi Katie, lovely to be with you today. And hi everyone, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for joining. So some of you will be watching this live. So for anyone watching live, I'm going to wait for you for a couple of seconds for you to join. Give us a little thumbs up and just let us know that you can see and hear us. And lots of you I know will be watching this later on replay. So if you are watching it on replay, you can always type in some questions and we'll come back to them, or just type in replay in the box so that we know that you're here and listening. So today, Heather's joining me from Supermums. We've had some sessions before, but this is a little bit different because Heather's going to talk to you a little bit more about her backstory and how she came to be doing what she's doing. So this is for you if you're a manager looking for a sort of well-paid, flexible career option with less responsibility maybe than managing teams. And if that's the case, then this session is for you. Just to give you a bit of background, Heather relaunched her own career as a management consultant in the Salesforce ecosystem. Heather started out as a freelancer, but she did so well attracting work with a 65% repeat and referral rate, and then built a team of 20 people around her to provide support to her clients. Heather's recently become a best-selling author of the book Become a Super Salesforce Consultant. There it is, well prepared. And Heather now helps people to relaunch their careers and sell themselves as management consultants, helping companies to redesign their processes and performance using technology. So that's a bit of an intro. So why don't we break that down a bit, Heather? Why can you just share a bit more about your story and about how this might relate to other people and why this might be interesting for other people who are looking to change careers and relaunch their careers?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really want to speak to those of you in the audience who, have had children or are planning to have children and, are considering, well, how do I maintain my career options? But you don't necessarily want all the responsibility of managing a team, a department and a business, but yet you don't want to take a lesser salary or opportunity. And I found myself in that space. So I had been running a business previously. I'd had 40 staff before I had my children. And I decided to close that business because of the funding streams that were coming in, but also equally managing a team and managing all the KPIs and the systems and the processes and everything, was very there was a lot, to think about. And I was thinking, when I have children, I don't really want that level of responsibility to be able to, to be having to think about everybody and think through those things. And that was when I was at that career change of going, what do I do next? What do I pivot to? And you can tell the kids are on Easter holidays. Going in
and there is a real example of Heather managing her career with children.
I love how they just look in the background.
You maintain that really well. I was like...
Yeah. So I was at that point of like, well, what do I do? And that's when I came across, I looked for things that I enjoy doing, but I came across, I suppose, of being a Salesforce consultant. And I call it a management consultant because that's really what it is. And I will explain, more about that in a moment. But, I think as a typical day the types of things that you would have been doing as a manager is you're managing processes and teams to follow processes every day. You're tracking your KPIs and seeing if the team is performing. You're communicating to everybody and motivating them in different ways. Your hands in there doing all these aspects of a job. And the reality is that you can repackage all of those skills. So what I did is I started to explore these job roles. And I came across job roles like business analyst. And I was like, what's that? Sounds interesting. And when you unpacked what a business analyst was, it was really about analysing a business and how its processes were run and how you would improve those processes. And I thought, well, okay, well, that's, very used to doing that, day-to-day job. So actually, I have performed the role of a business analyst. I didn't necessarily know, I suppose, the professional kudos of how to do that, but obviously a lot of the techniques are transferable and everything like that. So I was like, okay, well, as a business analyst, you go in and you can review their processes and help improve them. And so that felt comfortable. And then the other job role was project management. So with project management, it was really about looking at the business priorities and looking at a set of tasks that need doing and sort of breaking that down into prioritization and managing people to sort of deliver on those different tasks. I thought, well, definitely do that. And then the third sort of component was change management. And change management, again, is a term, but if you unpack what that means, it means communicating and motivating people to get on board with new systems, new processes, and new technology, and that's what you do as a manager, right? The difference was when I stepped into this role that I was able to work as a freelancer, earning £400 day rates from my office down near Hastings, because we moved out of London down near the sea. My daughter was completely wanting to be breastfed for the first year, but I was able to work 3 days a week equivalent from my home office, earning those day rates. And that was pivotal.
Was that without, sorry to interrupt, but was that without retraining at that point? You just gone from...
No, so I had retrained, yeah. So I had retrained in Salesforce at this point, because I'd understood what was possible. So I can talk through that, I suppose, the steps that I took to get there. But the reality was I was able to be into this freelance role where I could go into an organization, sit with their management teams, understand what their business priorities were, help facilitate workshops with their team to map out their processes. And I introduced then new technology or improvements they could make to their process, which is great because in every business you learn new things and you can help them map things out or discuss it between them and map out a process for them. And then what I was able to do, and having skilled up with Salesforce, and we can talk about Salesforce as a product, but mainly it's technology more broadly, I was able to sort of suggest technology recommendations to help improve the way they work, automate processes for them. And I could do the build because I learned how to build the system. But as I grew my team, I had other people that could do the build work of the system. I didn't do that. I just sort of led the conversations and, came up with new ways of working. But what was nice, and when I talk about less responsibility, is that, my work with that organization was just to go in to have these conversations to help implement the new system and then walk out again. And then you're kind of acting as that strategic advisor and that consultant, giving them advice. You're not holding anything else, any of that other responsibility. But I found I was earning more than in my previous management role as a manager. So, that's why I like to raise awareness of it, in that, if you have these management traits, management skills, you don't need to necessarily, you can still actually step up, with less responsibility, step up to earn more potentially, depends obviously what you were earning before. But, then be that management consultant where you go into other organizations and help them sort out and streamline everything they're doing, which can be very therapeutic. It's quite maternal, I find. It's like cleaning a house, it's kind of like, right, we're just cleaning up all these processes and tidying everything up and making sure their data's all clean. So, as I mentioned, as a typical day in the life would be going in and talking to the C-suite, facilitating workshops, talking through their processes, which can be done virtually. I like getting out of the house, to be honest, also, and going into the office. I'd be talking to teams about their KPIs and what's important to them to measure and track as a team. And quite often those teams didn't have them. They didn't know what those KPIs were. So I'd help them come up with what some of those KPIs would be. I'd help them think through their technology solutions that they might need, as I mentioned. I'd help them plan out their work. I'd help them think through how they communicate and motivate with their team. It's not my job to do it necessarily, but to help them think through how they might do that if there's new processes coming into place, and how they might train people on the new processes as well. And sometimes I would get involved in the coaching and training aspect and sort of deliver that. So, I really enjoyed, I suppose, that ability to help change things, act as that strategic advisor, get paid obviously good rates, have that flexibility, and be able to, well, you know, and with that flexibility also, there were short-term contracts. So if I wanted to take the summer off or I wanted to do anything else, I could do. You're not tied in. I mean, there are employment opportunities here, absolutely.
I was going to say, were you working with multiple companies?
Yeah, but you don't have to. Your options are you can work with multiple companies. You can have one contract with one company where you're freelance, and again, you just take the contract for as long as you want, or you could be an employee of a company working as this type of consultant as well.
So how did you get these consultancy gigs that you're talking about? Was that through the Supermums ecosystem, or did you find those on your own?
Well, when I transitioned, Supermums didn't exist. It was through Salesforce specifically. So just, I suppose, talking on Salesforce for a moment, I chose Salesforce as the product to align with clients, because a lot of people might work as a business coach or as a management consultant, and they will have a niche, and you have to have a niche to get in the door to work with people on these things. So Salesforce was the product that was my niche to go into these organizations, and Salesforce is the #1 CRM product that's used by a lot of businesses and a lot of non-profits. So with that in mind, I was going to work with the product that had the most potential of customer base, because I don't want to choose one that's a smaller customer base. I want to work with the product that's got the most customer base, because that increases my chances of getting job opportunities. So I invested in learning about that product. As I say, I advised on it. I could build on it because I didn't need to learn code. I could do it through clicks. But then as I grew my team, because I had more work than I could manage, I actually delegated any build work.
Yeah.
Now going back to your question, I did it as a freelancer and had multiple clients, and I would attract clients through that word of mouth. I had 65% through recommendation and repeat business. You know, I'd network online. I'd sort of reach out to people who were asking for help and build it. Now, some people want to do that, some people don't. I mean, I built a whole consultancy. We had 700 projects with 350 clients over the years that I grew my consultancy. So obviously I'm quite good at attracting clients and building that base, but that won't suit everybody. And obviously then you're going back into managing a business again, which is where, you know, in hindsight I was like, well, did I really want to do that? I quite enjoy being freelance. So you can go down the other routes where you have just a freelance contract with one company that you work with for 3 months, 9 months to implement a system for them, and then you can walk out, or you could have an employee role within a company.
Okay. So tell us about the earning potential of this, because we said that, you know, you can earn as much, if not more, as what you were earning as a manager, depending on obviously where you're managing and what your role is. But what does that look like in this world?
Yeah, it absolutely depends on your baseline of where you are now, as to whether you earn more or not. But your average salaries in the Salesforce space are 60K. And I was earning, because I did freelance work, I was earning that working 3 days a week. So my day rates were 400 a day. You could earn more than that. And depending on where you're starting, it depends on what your foundation knowledge is and your skill set and how you present at interview, obviously. So some people who retrain with us might start on 35, but they will double that salary within a couple of years if they keep progressing, and every time they get a new contract, they're increasing their salary and their learning potential. So we've had some people who have had lesser experience but have quickly progressed and are then charging those higher rates, whilst we've had other people who've been through our program that, you know, have more transferable skill sets, more confidence at interview, and have negotiated, you know, starting on those day rates to begin with. It just really depends on the backstory and where they can start and stop. But there's a great learning there's so many great learning opportunities. You have to be interested in the technology for this type of role and learning the technology, not necessarily say to implement it, but to at least advise on it. So there is always that appetite for learning the tech. Every time you learn more about tech and you build your knowledge base, your salary increases. We've had people that have been through the Supermums program who've had another couple of contracts and then they've got their job and now they're on their fourth job, for example, because every time you go into a new organization, you implement the system, you've done that job and then you do another job and then you get another job. So every time they're increasing their salary and their experience with every job opportunity. So you world's your oyster a little bit with it. You know, you get to work. I love this job more than being a manager, actually. As a consultant, you get to go in and look under the hood of all these different businesses and see how they all work and what they all do and take your advice where it's useful. But it's fascinating, you know, learning about all these other companies and then not having to have a long-term relationship with them, and that you can go in and sort of step out again and do it. And I think that really lends itself to people who want more flexibility.
That sounds great. So what's the particular path that you would follow with Supermums to do this? Because I know that you've got a number of different courses. You've got the admin and the marketing cloud, etc. If you wanted to follow this route, what would you be doing?
So we'd be recommending people start with the Salesforce admin course that we deliver, and that gives them the foundation knowledge of the product. So when they're in these workshops, redesigning processes, they can talk about what solutions and what options the teams have and how they can use tech in the best way. And once you've done that course at Supermums, we provide not only the technical training, as I say, we are an authorised Salesforce training provider, but we also provide a one-to-one mentor during the learning experience. They can check and support you on the learning process. We provide career coaching to help boost your confidence and any imposter syndrome you might be experiencing as you go through that program to relaunch your career. We'll also provide work experience, practical work experience, where you get hands dirty with your first project and your first client. So you've got that to put on your CV. And we also provide recruitment support and a peer support network of other people going on the journey with you. So typically we have on each training course 30 learners. We have 2 training courses that kick off four times a year. So our next 2 courses start on the second week of May. One course is delivered in the evening UK time, so if you want to learn in the evening you can do. There's also a course that's delivered in the morning, so depending on what suits you, we have a couple of course options that kick off in May, and you'll go through that learning journey, learn all those different skill sets, and that will equip you to sort of step into the role of a Salesforce professional. Now, depending on your background and experience, you could also do a bundle with our consultancy skills course, which gives you more professional skills around business analysis, change management, and agile project management. We offer that at 50% off if you buy both those courses together, if you decide you want to really upskill in those areas. So we've got an amazing opportunity. Our course starts, let's say, the second week of May. So really excited about getting people on boarded now. And hopefully that's piqued interest to some of you listening.
Brilliant. Thank you, Heather, for that whistle-stop tour. I'm sure people have got questions. We've got Shulamit here who's saying she'd love to connect after this. So Shulamit, I'll drop a link, or you can just connect with Heather directly and she'll put you in touch with one of the team. So if people are listening and want to find out more, what's the best thing for them to do?
I'll drop a link in the notes of the show, which is we've got a web page called What is a Salesforce Career that talks you through what the career options are, and what the skills and experience that people typically look for. So if you go through that, you can download a free career plan and you can book in a free career consultation with our team. So they're there to help you think about your skills, what's relevant, ask about the different job roles. And so we just want to help you make an informed decision about whether it's something that's right for you or not.
Amazing. So you said that the next cohort starts in May, so
yes.
People can sign up for that now. And how long does it run for? How long is the course?
So the training course is 3 months long. We then encourage people to get their certification for that product in month 4. If you want to do work experience with us, if some people find job opportunities straight away, whereas if you're waiting for a job opportunity or applying, we have work experience that you can do, which is with non-profit. So we call it pro bono volunteering time. But we've given over 24,000 hours of pro bono time to non-profits. Well, people have got their work experience, so it's a great sort of win for everybody. So that can, it can take 6 months to get you up and running with a job. It can take people 4 months.
Okay, and last question from me is, you said that there's evenings or mornings. If you were to do an evening or you had another job at the same time, is it possible to train and work, or do you need to not be working in order to train?
So we have people who are working full-time doing our course. It just depends on the support network you've got. So the training takes 16 hours a week. So I think it's just looking at your capacity to sort of fit that in around, and what support you've got, network, family, partner, etc., to enable you to complete those 16 hours a week of your study.
Okay, amazing. All right, well, look, that was really insightful. I hope that some of you listening, it's piqued your interest, and if you're interested in having a chat, as Heather said, we're going to drop some links in. There's, you know, you can have a chat with one of the Supermums team and find out a bit more about it, and if there's an interest, they've got the course running in May, and they'll be happy to answer any questions, and there's no obligation to anything. It's just having a chat and seeing if this could be the right opportunity for you. So thank you so much, Heather. It's been great to have you back again in the community. You know how much I love Supermums. I've spoken to so many of the alumni. We've got so many people from the group. It's tested, it's proven. We know that people in our group, in Flexible Working People community, who have done this have now got careers, you know, in Salesforce, in the ecosystem, and are earning really good money and really happy, and it's life-changing. So that's why we partner with people like Heather and Supermums, because we're always looking for these types of opportunities, because we know that there's so many people in the group who just don't know where to go and are looking for that career change. And this is a great opportunity. So thank you so much. Thanks everyone for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye everyone.